Video. Today we are going to the parts store. I'm going to be picking up a new ball joint for my Civic and we're going to be installing that in the garage. So stay tuned. Let's go. What's up guys, we're at the parts store. We have a new ball joint, so we're gonna go ahead and head back to the garage and start taking things apart. See you guys there. All right guys, we're back in the garage. I have the Civic behind me. I'm gonna give a quick run through of some of the tools you'll be needing. I have a Haynes manual here, so I know for when I'm putting things back together, how they go. Preferably it'd be easiest if you can pick one of these up. I think this came from Harbor Freight. It's a Maddox. This is a, you can see it here, ball joint service kit. So this will help me remove and put the new ball joint in. I will show you guys how to use that. I really don't know how you would do it if you don't have one of those. And then I have just your general sockets with some wrenches here. You might need some bigger ones for the tower. But basically we got to remove the entire hub assembly. And then obviously you will need your new ball joint. In this case, this one comes, make sure you check. This comes with a new snap ring. I would advise getting a new one, obviously, and then it even comes with a new pin. So that way we can replace those and a new nut as well. So it makes it pretty easy for us. The only other thing you will need is obviously snap ring pliers. Unless you can get a pair of needle nose that'll fit in there. It'll be a lot of work, but I mean, some people prefer to just not have extra tools. So it's totally up to you. But basically the first things we need to do is get the wheel removed off of there. And then basically start taking everything down. I'll show you what needs to come off before we can remove the hub there. So just give me a second. All right, so easy enough. I got it all taken apart down here. So as you can see, I have the wheel off. The things we need to remove is basically the caliper. So the two bolts on the back. You can separate the caliper and the caliper bracket. Sometimes I keep them together. I'm gonna remove the rotor to make it easier. Mine's not even really on very well. The axle nut, obviously. The two bolts going through your shift tower assembly up here, and then the one bolt down here. One thing you want to do first, right now that's still a little hot because I just got home not too long ago, so I'm gonna go ahead and spray everything down with penetrating oil, maybe let it sit for a few minutes, let it cool down, and then that'll help break everything up, because that way it'll be easier to get apart. I do say it will be easier because I literally just had most of this apart to do my transmission, everything except for the nut on the bottom here. So everything else should come loose pretty easy, but still I'm gonna spray it down with some penetrating oil, and then I'll come back to it in about a few minutes. Just a few minutes in, and as you can see, I have it basically pretty much apart now. I went ahead and removed the two bolts on the back, which were 17 millimeters for the assembly here. And then the two up here, one is a 19 and one is a 22. If you just get one loose, they both come off pretty easy. So I have those down there. Now the only one left is here. So you pull this to this side, and then the pin comes off. You can see how it sort of wraps around like that. I didn't loosen that at all. That's just from the penetrating oil breaking it loose. You saw how easy that came. I literally just did that with my fingers. So it came off pretty easy. And then the only other one would be the axle nut. I would obviously recommend doing this one before you do that. I didn't realize that until after. I did do this recently, so it should break loose pretty easy, but even still, it'd be best to do it before. And then you go ahead and hit this one, even maybe while you have still one of those in. But this axle nut, like I said, it was just out, so I'll be able to pop that through pretty easy, and then we'll have that out, and we'll be talking about breaking this loose. So let me get this all out for you. so I went ahead and got everything out. As you can see, the whole hub assembly, I was pounding on it. It would have been best to have a pickle fork, but obviously I didn't right now. So what I did was I pushed this kind of in there like you would a pickle fork, and then I pried on it like this, and I hit it with the hammer from the bottom. Obviously, you don't have to worry about that ball joint because I'm replacing it, so that way I don't have to worry about it going bad. So basically, I pried really hard on this and hit it really hard with the hammer, and through a lot of smacking and hitting, it eventually popped loose. So now I have that hub assembly out over here. I've been spraying it down with penetrating oil to try and get any rust broken up easily. I'm looking, I don't really see my snap ring. I'm wondering if it blew off somehow. So I don't have to remove that. So right now I just gotta focus on getting this pressed out through the other side. Obviously I have the press kit, so I'm gonna go get everything all set up and show you guys me pressing it out. So I kind of have it set up here to put the cup over the top of the ball joint here, and then this pushes directly on the bottom there. So I'm gonna go ahead and use the impact and try and take this off. Let's see if this works. Here we go. This set up. All right. Not good. That was a messed up ball joint. Just blew the top out of it. Yikes. That's great. I gotta find some way to get this out. Yeah, all right. Okay, attempt number 2. I kind of put this over the shell, push this on the bottom, see if this will bust it loose. I think that did the trick. Did. It's all out. You can see that was really stuck in there. But yeah, go ahead and clean this up and start putting the new bearing or the new bushing in. So we have it all set up, the new ball joints put in there. I wanted it as straight as possible. And then I have this new set up here. So the cup goes over the bottom this time, and then I want the pressure coming from the top. And then I'm gonna take this and slowly just drive it down as much as I can, just a little bit at a time. Have it started. all wedged in there. Okay. I think I pushed directly on that actually. I want to do that, so. Alright. Can you tighten that down? Alright, now for the second part, I have it obviously started. This time it's directly on top, and then I have the cup on the bottom again. Alright, you can see it bottomed out on the top, and then there's enough space in here for me to put my clamp here. See if I can get that in. Let me see here actually. I have a brand new pair of snapping pliers. Can't get them wide enough, actually. There we go. On a higher setting. We have our snap ring in place. Like I said, the old one was missing, so I just went ahead and put the new one in. Obviously, it's seated on the top, so everything is looking good. I'm gonna go ahead and start to drop this down into the car. I will find torque specs for everything, and then I'll show you guys, you know, tightening everything up, and then we just basically gotta put it all back together. So I've dropped the new hub assembly in. In the Haynes manual, it says to tighten that nut on the bottom to 43 to 51 pounds. So I went right in the middle at 47. I went ahead and tightened that down. I put the cotter pin through. I went up to the top and put those two strut bolts in there. And again, in the Haynes manual, that says to 33 pounds. So I went ahead and torqued those down. Next, I'm gonna be throwing on the rotor, and then I'll be putting the caliper setup on there. But first thing I wanted to point out, when I was spraying the axle nuts, I got a lot of brake, or not really brake cleaner, you know, rust buster on there. So I would recommend just going around and cleaning that off, just so you don't have any problems, you know, your brakes slipping. We obviously don't want that, you know, and it'll make them look shiny, right? So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and put this back on. I will put the caliper back onto the disc. And then that way, when I want to torque down this big nut in the center here, I will just take a screwdriver and stick it through one of the slots there, and it'll go over and hit the caliper, and then I can torque that down to the proper torque specs without having to take the center out of my wheel. I'll be able to just do it right while the car is in the air, and then I'll be able to put the wheel on and drop it right down and not have to do that. So let me go ahead and put this back on and get that all torqued up and get everything back down on the ground. Alrighty, so as you can see, I got it all back together. One thing I do want to point out, like I said, when you do the screwdriver trick and you tighten this nut down, it should line up similar to where it was last time. And the way you can tell is it has this little U shape there, where you're supposed to press the outside ring of that nut down in there. It kind of works like a safety. Not really sure why, but you know, just if that lines up correctly, then you know you've got it right. And then torque specs, I'll put that up here for you. So that way you can see everything will be in the description below, so you know all the torque specs for that. Yeah, it's pretty basic and pretty easy. You can do it yourself. You just need that press kit, and then pickle fork would be nice. I did it without, but you know, some people might need it. Don't forget to remove anything you leave up in there. But I'm gonna go ahead and put the wheel back on, torque that up, and drop it down, and then go for a test spin and just see how things ride. And then I'll let you guys know when I'm done. Alrighty guys, so I went ahead and took it out for a spin. It sounds really, really good. I'm super excited because now I feel way more safe driving my car. One of the things I do want to point out, obviously, as you can see in all my videos, my car is lowered a lot, and that is a thing you will run into with lowered cars. All your bearings and bushings and ball joints, all that's just going to go way faster than if you had it on stock suspension. But you know, it's just one of those things that happens. So I just want to point that out really quick. So if you do think about lowering your car, just, you know, expect something in this case, you know, just, you know, so you have an idea of what you're looking for in the future. I obviously knew that when I was getting into the car scene. So, you know, I obviously did it willingly, and as low as I have it, obviously it went pretty quick. But anything I used in here, like that ball joint press, I will put that in the description. A pickle fork, all that kind of stuff with the torque specs, I will leave that all in the description for you guys, so you guys can do this yourself at your home. If you guys like this video, make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you subscribe and hit that notification bell so you see more videos in the future. So until then, I will see you guys in one of those.